Staffing shortages among air traffic controllers prompted the FAA to reduce airline schedules. Air traffic controllers were furloughed during the shutdown, and some called out sick to try to find other ways to make money.
Now, the positive note is that this is coming together a few weeks before the travel rush for the holidays really gets going. And the airlines say they're not expecting any residual impacts from the shutdown for Thanksgiving travelers.
ABC's Trevor Ault reporting. Local stories we're following. The investigation into a huge apartment fire in Lehigh continues, and federal investigators have joined. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives have joined the investigation into the massive fire on Sunday that burned down a complex under development, KSL.com reports. City officials say the investigation had been halted on Monday because of safety concerns, but started back up on Wednesday.
Ground had been broken back in March for the 304-unit complex and was supposed to be completed in 2027. Officials say it's still too early to know if the fire was arson or not. Your money at this moment. Let's see where we are this morning. The Dow is down 320. We're back under 48,000 at 47,934. We've got a few more warm days in the 60s for you. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
There's no place like home, but home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. The U.S. economy is built on the idea that 30% of your income should go towards housing. But in Utah, families are spending nearly 66% just to keep a roof overhead. On top of that, the average homeowner in Utah has nearly $400,000 in net worth. For renters, it's barely $10,000. And with Utah already on track to be short more than 153,000 homes by 2030, that gap is only growing. Every community in Utah plays a part in finding solutions. More homes mean more opportunity for teachers, nurses, police officers, and every family that makes Utah what it is. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com. And when you sign up, you'll be entered to win tickets to a special pre-screening of Wicked. Visit demandmoresupply.com. Together, we can keep Utah families close.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
How do you gain an advantage in the #1 economy in the nation? Attend the Utah Business Forward Conference, where Utah's best business minds share their knowledge about the innovation, resilience, strategy, and relationships it takes to propel your business and career to the next level. Get access to leaders in various industries, from product development and manufacturing to finance and entrepreneurship. Make plans today to attend Utah Business Forward on November 17th, 2025 at Hyatt Regency Salt Lake City. Sign up now at forward.utahbusiness.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Ricky Meese is here.
Hello, Amanda. Good morning.
Well, we are going to start up north where we have a crash blocking a right lane of traffic northbound Highway 89 at the I-84 junction. With that right lane blocked, it's causing heavy delays back to SR 193. Here in the valley, still some leftover delays northbound I-15 from the Point up to Bangerter Highway and Draper. And then again, Midvale into Murray, spots from South Salt Lake to downtown. Then over to the east, heavy delays, unusual. This is eastbound I-80 in Summit County as you go from Harley Summit over to the Highway 40 junction. Tax problems keeping you up at night? Get the IRS off your back. Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox stop IRS harassment now. Visit endtaxworry.com. That's endtaxworry.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we'll have mostly sunny skies with a high of 69 degrees. That's possible record warmth. Tomorrow will be slightly cooler with a chance of rain and 67. Right now it's 55 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, the government shutdown appears to have ended. The Senate voted Monday night to extend the continuing resolution into January. The House met yesterday, Holly, and we thought maybe there would be a little bit of fireworks there because of some changes that were made at the Senate. There weren't any. The shutdown seems to have ended, but I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, so it's ended. What does that mean for me when I had benefits that quit
exactly
3 or 4 weeks ago?
So one of the ones that I want to talk about specifically is SNAP. So SNAP is the food assistance program. We've talked about it a lot on our show, and we were wondering because one of the indicators where SNAP was going to be funded at about half is we had people from the administration saying this could take weeks to months. Well, yesterday, it was the USDA spokesperson said once the government was open, so officially last night, the states should have the funds to distribute within 24 hours. So by tomorrow, probably, and maybe even today, those SNAP recipients will have that money that was held on November 1st should be on their cards.
Right, which is, it's a significant delay, but 14 days is certainly better than 2 or 3 months.
Right.
I think that's great. I don't know that there were interim benefits that the state stood up to the plate or anybody got certain things. I remember there was some talk about that.
Yeah, so remember the state of Utah said that they would donate up to $4 million to the food bank in additional assistance. And then, of course, we had a lot of people within the Utah community donating to food banks, food pantries. If you remember, we talked with, early on in the shutdown, we talked with the Salt Lake City Airport, and they were standing up food pantry, but also gas cards because their employees were considered essential employees, the accepted employees, right? So that they had to drive to and from work even though they weren't getting paid. So we had a lot of those stepping up.
Were WIC benefits also?
WIC benefits were different. They came from a different bucket, and so they were not impacted during this shutdown. They could have been had it continued on, but they're okay.
This has to be a huge break for the Utah food banks and pantries who were already stretched pretty thin, looking at federal employees laid off, looking at people not getting their SNAP benefits, looking at the holidays coming up. That's sort of a trifecta of hits on their supplies. This at least takes 2 of those prongs out of it and maybe makes it so that we can get through the holidays. And Utahns, of course, as we talked about just over the last week ago, really stood up to the plate and donated time.
Remember,
food.
This is one of the busiest seasons, too, for our local food pantries and food bank, and that the food bank even yesterday said that the impacts, those ripple effects are going to continue to impact Utahns past when all of this gets ramped back up. So remember, federal workers, if they were impacted, they're going to get their back pay. However, they weren't paying their mortgage or their rent. Or they were taking out, loans to do it. Their insurance payments may have been held. And so as that first paycheck comes out, I know one of the things that happened during the last shutdown is that early that first paycheck, almost all of it went to their insurance premium because that's taken out of your check before you even see it.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, the Utah Food Bank said it's going to take a bit.
No, I was talking to my wife last night, a federal employee, and we were talking about paying bills, and she said, don't count me in yet until I get that first paycheck that I haven't received in some time.
Yeah.
Of course, the check's in the mail, and it will be forthcoming. So I want to digress for just a minute. TSA, we would expect them to be up to full speed then, so that we're not having flight delays. And
again, a ripple effect, right?
And the flight coordinators, the air traffic controllers.
Right.
That was a huge problem that we were facing, or at least it didn't seem to come to fruition too much, but there were a lot of delayed flights.
There were, and like crazy high numbers of delayed flights. But still, this morning, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that they're going to hold the flight delays at 6%. And so there's still a little bit of a ripple effect, right? So it's still ongoing. Today is not the day where it's back to normal. By the time we get to Thanksgiving, which is 2 weeks from today, actually, they expect that to all be back to normal. But as of today, there still could be delays and cancellations.
So good news. The government shutdown is over. It was a record shutdown. I think it went 43 days.
43 days.
The longest shutdown in U.S. history, hopefully the longest forever. And we did, in some respects, kick the can down the road. The continuing resolution
until January
went to January. Like you'd think they could do it to January of 2027 or something. But
yeah,
I mean, you got to keep both houses' feet to the fire a little bit so that we can address some of these issues. And there's going to be a lot of discussion on the Hill about subsidies to the Affordable Care Act and what that will mean, because notwithstanding that the government's back up to speed, a lot of Americans, a lot of Utahns, thousands of Utahns, may be priced out of their health care right now.
Yeah, priced out of the health care. Yeah, and I think what that's going to do is you're going to see a lot of people then who do not have health care, and then they'll go to the emergency room for health care when they need it, which is not a great way to run health care, but sometimes that's what it feels like your choice is. So.
And we may look back on that and think, well, that was not a very wise use of resources because we still have to help certain people, and hospitals aren't going to turn people away just because they're no longer subsidized through their Affordable Care Act. We'll see. I mean, this government shutdown, I hope we learned something from it. I'm not sure we did.
I don't think we ever do.
I mean, I'm watching some of the screens right now, and people are upset at the 8 Democrats that
crossed over.
Yeah. What's up with them? What are they doing? What was the whole purpose of the shutdown if, in fact,
if they were holding out for health care and then they didn't get the health care?
There were a few things that were thrown in, though, when after the Senate passed it, it had to go back to the House because there were a few additions that they threw.
Well, and they changed the implementation date. So instead of the continuing resolution going through November 21st, which is just next week, they made it go through January 30th. But one of the other things, too, that they did get was an actual budget bill. And it's the section that includes agriculture, so farms, but it also includes the SNAP benefits. It goes through the fiscal year, so it's not even an entire calendar year, but at least it goes through September 30th of 2026. So they may revisit continuing resolution and funding the government in January 30th, but at least the SNAP recipients don't have to worry until September.
I have to say it's a relief, and I think it's got to be a relief for a lot of Utahns, a lot of Americans, that this shutdown is over and that whoever you want to blame for it, I don't know that it even does any good at this point. Let's figure out how we're going to get to where we're not going to have a shutdown again starting in January, because that's,
I don't think anybody won. Right? I mean,
no.
It's like a game of chicken, I think. And so which one blinked first? Well, Republicans are claiming victory. Democrats are claiming victory. And I think a lot of the American people are like, would you please just do your jobs?
Right. So I think it goes to Trump's desk today what the House
No,
passed.
he already signed up.
Oh, he's already signed up.
Yeah, he did it late last night.
Then we're going.
We're going.
We're up and running.
So, look, here's a question for you. A guy calls the police station, says he stabbed his girlfriend, and he has a gun. What's the response? And what happens when it turns out to be a hoax? We're going to talk about that because that just happened at the University of Utah last night. So stay with us.
Hard to believe, but Black Friday's here, and you know what that means. It's time for Black Friday money deals at UCCU.
There is an annual tradition now for Black Friday at UCCU where people look forward to, because unlike other Black Friday sales, Black Friday at UCCU is your chance to actually improve your finances.
Like a home equity loan with extra 0.25% off the intro rate, auto and RV loans with no payment for 90 days, Low-rate credit cards with 0% interest for 6 months and $150 cash just for signing up for direct deposit.
It's so easy, and that's just the beginning of Black Friday money deals. Keep going to uccu.com every week for new premium deals that will unlock, and they're things like cutting your auto loan rate in half to earning a higher interest rate on your savings. Enter each week for a chance to win these awesome prizes.
But you got to visit uccu.com every week. But if you come back and enter every time a new deal unlocks, you can win them all. So don't just enter once. Go every week, unlock every deal, and win big this Black Friday at UCCU.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
and expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
This is just one of those stories, Holly, that kind of breaks your heart if you think about what law enforcement does and the work that they do in the community. But last night, Salt Lake City Police Department received a call from a man who claimed to have just stabbed his girlfriend. He continued to say that there would be a mass shooting if the police didn't come and respond to him in 20 minutes. He was up at the University of Utah's Callert Village, and they went up there, of course, with SWAT teams, with a number of people. They did what they called a shelter in place for all the residents up there. In other words, everybody stay in your room, stay in your door, don't do anything else. Police came from other areas where they could have been working, went there, went door to door to door to door, and after some time decided that the whole thing was just a hoax.
And that's awful, right? I mean, that's swatting. And I wonder, I didn't actually look up the origin of the term swatting, but I think it must be because they're sending in the SWAT team, right? But what you're doing is it's not a joke, right? It's not funny. I think it's so dangerous. And it happens, this was on a college campus in Utah, but it happens with political figures. It happens with other people, right? Is somebody will report a crime and they'll give the address to this political figure or whatever. And I think it can have deadly consequences.
Oh, yeah, and it has in the past. In 2017, a Wichita man was killed after a swatting incident ended in a police shooting. Because when the police go, they're expecting the worst. Especially think of what's happened.
I'm going to do a mass shooting.
At schools in the last several years. And so police can't take those anything but seriously. They go there with the guns drawn.
Yeah.
They've got the SWAT team. They're ready for the worst. And then they see something that may not be the worst, but they've got to react to it. And the legislature has taken this very seriously as well. You know, it was, a month ago we were talking about road rage and sort of the phenomena there that we hadn't dealt with before, and the legislature coming in and saying that's going to be treated more seriously. They did the same thing with swatting. It's now a serious crime, which could be punishable up to what we call a second-degree felony, 1 to 15 years in prison.
Wow.
If you disrupt a school, which is exactly what happened here.
Wow. We have former FBI agent Greg Rogers on the line with us. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thanks. Always a pleasure.
Can you tell us from your perspective what is behind people who do this kind of swatting?
There are several different motivations. I think when you mention the political swatting incidents, I think that's just sort of a way to harass someone that you disagree with politically. These sorts of incidents, like at the university, though, that's different. This is somebody who is getting a kick out of watching this happen, and it's incredibly dangerous. And that's they're feeling some sort of sense of empowerment by being able to cause a SWAT team to show up at a location, shut it down, and I think it's highly likely whoever made this call was watching.
Greg, can you tell us, just as a former law enforcement officer who's no doubt been called out on situations like this, tell us what's in the mindset of a police officer when they get called out to something like, I've just killed my girlfriend, and if I don't have any response here in 20 minutes, I'm going to start shooting up the campus. I mean, it's not just the kind of thing you show up and knock on the door, right?
No. I spent 20 years on SWAT teams, and when you get a SWAT call out like this, where you have an active shooter on a campus, you show up ready to go. I mean, when they're clearing rooms, you're literally geared up. You know, your weapons are at the ready, which of course means you don't have your finger on the trigger, but your weapon's at the ready and your finger's on the trigger guard. Your adrenaline's very high. You believe you're looking for an active shooter who's getting ready to kill people. I mean, so it's a very dangerous situation. You have things could break bad really easily.
And it takes law enforcement away from other duties. I mean, you call out the SWAT team, you're calling out with some departments and some agencies. A fair number of individuals. An actual call.
Yeah, there'd be an actual call where the SWAT team's needed, and it's not easy to move an entire SWAT. I mean, it's and when you're actively clearing rooms, you're not getting called off that. So in clearing a dorm, you clear those rooms one at a time. So it's time consuming.
Yeah, as I understand it, they have not yet identified the person who called the police station and reported that he had stabbed his girlfriend. What types of avenues do police have to be able to track down the caller?
Well, they have very good, very high-tech resources, but unfortunately, there's some apps that are incredibly effective at disguising numbers, and it's getting more and more difficult. It's not used to be very simple. Now there are apps that can disguise numbers that go through all sorts. But it really depends on the sophistication of the caller.
Greg, one of the things that I think you've specialized in just since you've left the FBI is kind of getting into the mindset of perpetrators and looking into what's going on. Who does something like this? I mean, is it a way to get attention? Is it a way to what is it? It's
unfortunately, when you're profiling someone like this, you're again looking at how sophisticated they were in setting it up, and it looks like this individual was pretty computer savvy, and then you're trying to determine the motivations. And since he didn't really give the specific name of someone, which would indicate that he was he was acting out against a specific person, meaning he didn't give the specific name or of an individual. This looks like someone who was trying to prove a point and to not get attention because they don't want to get caught. So, but prove a point to themselves. And I can almost assure you that they were somewhere watching this and getting some sort of sense of excitement out of what they were able to make happen.
So, what is the university response when something like this happens?
It's very difficult because you have to take these seriously every single time. The university, made a mistake with the McCluskey case and didn't take some of those calls seriously. So that's not going to happen again. And so every time there's a call like this, there's going to be a response because you can't assume that someone's, unfortunately, this term that's now being used all the time, you can't just assume someone is swatting somebody.
Yeah.
You've got to verify it and make sure that it's not actually happening.
Exactly. Thanks, Greg. That was Greg Rogers, former FBI special agent, who's actually been out on SWAT situations. And he makes a great point, Holly. Think about the Lauren McCluskey case. That was only, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember when it was. It doesn't matter. But after something like that, the university has no choice but to take something like this seriously. They have no choice but to make sure that their SWAT teams are deployed, that they're looking at this as though it, assuming that something really awful can happen, and taking officers off the street, off of other important duties they could be doing, and going out and responding to a situation like this. I mean, no agency, no city, no county, no university can do anything except take something like this seriously, because you never know when it is that serious incident. Yeah,
Lauren died 7 years ago in October. But my question too as a parent is, what would I feel like if my child was in a dorm room and people are coming in with, looking like the SWAT team and weapons pulled, trying to clear my room? It's like, do you want to come live at home?
Right. Or if your kid just called and said, hey, we're at a stage in place, we can't leave our dorm room, there's an active SWAT situation going on. Then you're just like, call me when it's over, please.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, when we come back, former Utah Senator Mitt Romney spoke at BYU yesterday. We'll talk about what he had to say when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, a long-awaited House vote on a release of the Epstein files appears to now be in the offing, with 218 signatures on a petition to force a roll call on the floor.
After unsuccessfully applying pressure on a handful of GOP colleagues to keep their names off a petition that would force a vote, Speaker Mike Johnson says he'll put the Epstein files bill on the floor next week. It could pass the House. But even if it does, there's no guarantee it would be put to a vote in the Senate. And even if it passed both houses, there's no guarantee President Trump would sign it.
ABC News' Stephen Portnoy reporting. Utah Senator John Curtis has joined forces with a lawmaker on the other side of the aisle to combat political violence. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman reports.
Curtis and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly met at Utah Valley University yesterday, the same campus where Charlie Kirk was assassinated earlier this year. Curtis said that his initial reaction was shock. It shouldn't be something that happens in Utah. But he quickly sprang into action. The pair got together to draft a bill that same day, what they're calling the Algorithm Accountability Act.
We're here, hopefully, to be able to bring not just a little bit of healing to the community, to UVU, but to show that two people from two different parties in two different states actually like each other and could work together even in our disagreements.
The new legislation would update internet regulations and put pressure on social media platforms. Most platforms are protected from accountability for what their users post, but the new act would mean that algorithms which boost radical, harmful, or violent content would be held liable. Reagan Edelman, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment. We were having a rough morning on the markets. The Dow is off 384 right now. We're at 47,869. Coming up, a few more warm days ahead. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Every child deserves to feel safe, seen, heard, and loved. The Children's Center Utah helps make that possible. For more than 60 years, their expert team has provided life-changing mental health care for young children and their families. This care plays a crucial role when a child's development matters most, providing early intervention and the tools they need to thrive before a family faces significant crisis and expense, addressing crucial mental, behavioral, and emotional concerns now. Today, the Children's Center Utah is expanding, bringing hope and healing to even more communities across Utah. This outreach will ensure greater access for more Utah children and their families. You'll hear more about it in the days and weeks ahead. In the meantime, if a child in your life needs support, the Children's Center Utah is here to help. Visit childrencenterutah.org to learn, give, or get involved. The Children's Center Utah, where hope and healing happen.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
The holidays are just around the corner, and Western Nut Company is here to make your gifting a breeze. From our beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to our famous in-house fudge and brittle, we've got treats for every taste bud, crafted with the highest quality ingredients. Corporate gifting, that's our specialty. Just send us your list and we'll handle the rest. Beautifully packed, shipped with care, and guaranteed to impress. Calling all office managers or executive assistants. Call Western Nut now and let us make your holidays a little less nuts. But we actually do want you to eat more nuts. For 60 years, Western Nut has been a proud Utah tradition. Stop by our downtown shop for unique gifts, glittering ornaments, festive decor, and so much more. Western Nut Company, more than just the best gifts in Utah. We're a holiday tradition, in-store or online at westernut.com, where quality meets tradition, and every gift is packed with love.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Ricky Meese.
Amanda, most of your Salt Lake County freeway delays have cleared out. We still have a little bit of heavy and slow traffic northbound I-15 Draper up to Bangerter Highway, and again near 1300 South, and southbound I-15 in Davis County going through Clearfield towards Hill Air Force Base, but that's starting to ease. Where we still have traffic jammed up, it's due to an accident northbound Highway 89 at the I-84 junction. It's now been moved out of traffic, so the delays stretching back to SR 193, those should clear in just a few minutes. Central Bank. Need a local bank to move your business or family to your goal line? Use the professionals scoring for clients since 1891. Visit cbutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, we'll have mostly sunny skies with a high of 69 degrees. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain and 67, but we get a bigger storm in here on Sunday, and the temperatures will drop into the 50s. Right now, it's 57 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, former Utah Senator Mitt Romney served up some optimism on Wednesday during a speech at BYU. The retired politician, businessman, and you recall leader of the 2002 Salt Lake City organizing committee for the Winter Olympic Games was at Brigham Young University on Wednesday to deliver the 2025 Romney Institute George W. Romney, a lot of Romneys here,
Yep.
lecture on public service, and boy did he.
Yeah, you know, he's been relatively quiet, I think, since stepping down from the U.S. Senate. But one of the things that Mitt Romney noted was that he talked about the most important decisions a person makes in life, and he said early in his career, his boss told him the two most important were deciding who to marry and how to earn a living. But he said the most important is what your purpose in life will be. So he's talking with BYU students.
Yeah, it had to be a break for Romney to talk about, instead of what's wrong with our country right now, what we can do positively. And you know, it is a time in our country and in our state when public service is more important than ever. And he's certainly been the role model for public service because he's done so much. But he can also tell others, especially young people today, how to get involved in public service, and instead of just thinking about, like you said, what's my road to success on my career ladder to success. I've also got to do some things for the public, for my family, for my church, for my country, whatever.
Yeah, I liked what he said, and he said basically you have to live in accordance with your core values, and when you try to live in conflict with your core values, you feel stress. I think that would be an understatement. But one of the things that he decided his core values were service, love, and integrity. And then if you start to cross those, and I think you see that. Did you ever read the book by McKay Coppins, the biography on Romney?
I didn't.
It was super interesting. And one of the things that he talked about was Romney's decision to vote to impeach President Trump during his first term. He literally sat alone after that decision, right? So they were trying to pressure him, right? Stay within the GOP, and he felt like to stay in integrity, he felt like he had to vote to impeach, and you know, he took a lot of flack for it. He didn't run for office again, and yet he felt like he could live with himself because he stayed true to his core values.
I got to know and understand Mitt Romney pretty well. I mean, we all knew Mitt Romney because he was the governor of Massachusetts.
Right.
He'd been involved in a lot of things. But
saved the Olympics.
Right. Well, I was just going to say that. Our Olympic Games, if you recall, in 2002, were in the midst of scandal.
Mm-hmm.
How did we get the games? Who did we ostensibly bribe? I mean, there was actually a federal prosecution going at the time against the Olympic organizing committee, and Romney jumps in, and he's going to pick up the pieces with the games that were in complete disarray. And I have to say, because I attended the opening ceremonies and a lot of the events, whatever people say about how Utah did the games that year, it was a huge success.
Yeah.
And I think Mitt Romney had a lot to do with that. I mean, because we needed somebody to stand up to the plate and say, okay, what's happened has happened. Let's let the system work itself out. Let's see what future organizers can do when they're bidding for the games and not go down this rabbit hole that Utah may have. And, of course, everybody was acquitted. The case was dismissed. Yeah. It was a silly case anyway. I was involved in the case. I should digress. So I have my own take on it. But it was a case that probably shouldn't have been brought, and didn't even get to the jury. The judge threw it out.
Yeah, and you remember with the 2002 Olympics, that occurred just months after the 9/11 attacks, and
right.
And so security was really heightened. But one of the things that Olympics did, I think, for the first time, was really rely on volunteers, right? And Utah does that. Again, we've talked about it many times. Utah does that really, really well, right? Is the volunteer ethos that we have in the state of Utah. In fact, when we talk about the 2034 Olympics, we already have people that are like, sign me up.
Right. And Romney said that one of the positives about what he says, living life as long as mine, he's 78, was working with people from various backgrounds, possess qualities he hopes to emulate. So, I mean, getting involved with people that have different ideas, different values, and certainly the 2002 games, we had people from all over the planet coming in and
right.
trying to tell us how to do our job. But, this is Utah. This is what we're going to do. And,
yeah.
That was a huge public service that he did.
He had an opportunity to answer questions from students, and I think this is a key question on a lot of people's minds. How do you be politically active and politically involved without getting sucked into the hatred and contention? So I'll ask you that. How do you do that?
I know. I mean, that's the $1 million question.
Right.
It's just what you have to do. I mean, I think you have to put that aside. And if you want to be politically involved and you want to be active in politics or anything else, you have to keep your blinders on, I think, and say, okay, what is best for what I'm doing for my cause here, and forget about the politics of it. And now that's easier said than done, because sometimes you can't avoid the politics of it.
Well, he didn't mention the Dignity Index, but I would, right?
Oh, there you go. Right. Yes.
Right. But he said, I never felt a conflict between my values as a member of the church, and he's talking about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and my political responsibilities. And it's interesting that he's such an optimist, because he knows, and he said, we have a lot of challenges where we have disruptions with AI, but we also have a very volatile, dangerous world right now. And this is what he said: tough challenges cause people to dig deep and achieve greatness. The greatest generation, my parents' generation, so Mitt Romney's 78, it's his parents' generation,
right,
was great in part because they faced a conflict of global dimension and overcame it. So it's good to hear that he has optimism and that people can dig in. It's interesting that he never really shied away from his faith, and it was an issue on the campaign trail in 2012 when he was running for president, if you remember, right? And people were really hearing about, I think, the church in a way that they hadn't before, right? And he never backed down, right? It was not his only thing, but it certainly informed all of his political decisions.
And it was interesting because it reminded a lot of people of what happened in the 60s when John F. Kennedy was running as what I believe
Catholic.
May have been the first Catholic president. And people saying, well, is he going to be a Catholic president, or is he going to be a president? I mean, who are you beholden to?
Right.
Your church or your country? And of course, he ended up serving with distinction, and Romney did in every respect too. I mean, I think he was one of our better senators. I really think that he was able to cross the aisle about as well as anybody.
Well, there were people who were really angry that he crossed the aisle, right? But he again made those decisions based on what he felt were the core values, and one of the reasons that people elected him. So I agree with you. I thought he was a great senator. I thought he did a great job of working with people with a variety of backgrounds, but he was punished for sticking to his guns politically, right? And yet he's still, look, it was a good time, and I don't know if he's glad he did it, but he has lived a life of service doing what he thought was best.
He's kind of an example of why some races should just be nonpartisan, because in a nonpartisan race for the president or for the governor or for the senator of Utah, he he scores incredibly well. But getting through his own party in some respects is difficult.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So speaking of senators, there's a Republican and a Democrat. Sounds like the beginning of a joke. It's not. They visited the site of the Charlie Kirk killing yesterday, and then they sat down to talk about political violence. We're going to talk about who those two were when we come back after the break.
Each night in Utah, nearly 1,000 people sleep on our streets. This past year, homelessness rose by 18%. More than 15,000 Utahns experienced homelessness in 2025.
Behind every number is a person, often facing trauma, addiction, and isolation. Being homeless is cold and lonely. And while winter overflow shelters are open, there still aren't enough beds.
The Rescue Mission of Salt Lake and Ogden Rescue Mission are here to help. Through their Inpatient Life Transformation Program, they address the root causes of homelessness, offering life skills, education, and faith-based support to help people rebuild their lives.
They also provide daily meals, shelter, hygiene services, clothing, and street outreach. Emergency services are often the first step toward hope.
The Rescue Mission receives no government funding. It's powered entirely by your generous tax-deductible donations.
Help someone work their way out of homelessness. Visit rescuesaltlake.org to learn more.
Experience the timeless Christmas classic that has captivated audiences nationwide. From the Michael McLean family to your family. See The Forgotten Carols musical. With an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition, come meet our next generation and share the magic of Christmas in Orem, Salt Lake City, Ogden, Tooele, Logan, and Saratoga Springs. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Inside Sources.
Well, while Mitt Romney was speaking at BYU about public service and being involved in public service and serving the community, just a few miles north, the senator that took his position, John Curtis, was with Democratic Arizona Senator Mark Kelly to discuss the end of political violence and how to get there. And they were speaking at the place just a few hundred feet away from where a political influencer Charlie Kirk was killed just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it was one of the things that I think it's important to note that there's an ongoing discussion about what do we do about political violence, right? So yesterday, this was hosted by UVU's Gary R. Herbert Institute for Public Policy, but moderated by CNN political correspondent Dana Bash. And it was interesting because I saw several social media posts, including from UVU President Astrid Timonez, talking about, and she's this short little thing, right? She's taking this picture and, she's a foot shorter than everybody else, but she was comparing her high heels with Dana's high heels. But the important part really was this conversation. So they had a conversation. They walked through where Charlie Kirk was killed, and then they went and had this conversation about political violence. And Mark Kelly said this, Senator Kelly, he said, I did not agree with him much. He's talking about Charlie Kirk. And he said, but I'll tell you what, I will go to war to fight for his right to say what he believes. And he's a former Navy pilot. And he said, even if you disagree with somebody, that doesn't mean you put up a wall between you and them.
And remind us who Senator Mark Kelly is.
So he is a senator from Arizona married to Gabby Giffords.
Right.
So she was a representative who was shot in the head at an outdoor political rally in 2011. She suffered a severe brain injury, and I was telling you during the break, I heard her speak because she came out to Utah with Mark Kelly before he was a senator, but she came to speak at the Wasatch Speaker Series, and what was, I think, pretty clear is that she continues to have significant impacts on her ability to speak and even to walk because of that.
So he's had some really up close and personal interaction with political violence.
Yeah.
Of course, Utah Valley University had what can only be described as the worst act of political violence in our country in the last year or two, right there on campus where these two senators spoke, and just talking about and having kids get together. And I think it's important for the community down there and for the college community down there to sit down and listen to people, especially people like this who are at the top of their game. Two United States senators from different parties talk about political violence and political hatred, and maybe there's a way to work around some of these differences that they're having.
Yeah, what's interesting, and you mentioned maybe the worst case of political violence, but remember in Minnesota there were two elected officials who were shot in an assassination attempt. One died along with her husband and their dog. But one of the things that John Curtis said is, look, it's really easy to point fingers and say, but they or that side or them, those guys. And even criticizing the tech companies, and there's a little bit more that we'll talk about in a minute. But he said this is a moment for a little self-reflection and holding up a mirror. I think this is more of a reflection of who we are as a country than we're willing sometimes to admit, right? And sometimes it's you see things happen, you say this is not who we are, but I think what Senator Curtis is saying is sometimes we have to say, well, maybe this is who we are.
Right. And of course, these are two senators who, like you said earlier, probably had completely inconsistent views on Charlie Kirk, but also both came to the table saying, but whether you agree with him or not, he had the right to speak, and he had a right to, and what he was doing, again, whether you like it or not, was important for the college campuses and for the college community and just for the greater community to be able to go out and speak and to hear different perspectives and different ideologies and to engage in the debate. And that's what Charlie Kirk did about as well as anybody, is sort of engage in the debate.
Yeah, I mentioned social media. So one of the things that they did was take the opportunity while they were speaking yesterday at UVU to announce a bill that they are jointly proposing, they're jointly sponsoring. They're calling it the Algorithm Accountability Act, and it really is focused on these big tech companies, social media companies. It would remove liability protection for them if they are boosting content that contributes to political radicalization and violence.
Yeah, and it was interesting because Senator Kelly did take a little bit of a shot at our own administration right now and said that leaders like President Trump actually pour gasoline on the flames. And he said Trump consistently tries to, quote, drive a wedge between the American people. Now, I'm sure John Curtis didn't jump on that bandwagon, but it does go to the notion of political violence. And when we respond to political violence, you can take the Spencer Cox approach, which is, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's ratchet it down. Or you could take the administration's approach, which was, I hate them. I feel hate now. Yeah. I feel hate. Yeah.
So it's interesting that Senator Curtis addressed right off the bat some of the pushback that he knows this proposal is going to get. So tech companies, he said, are not super excited about it because they rely on social media algorithms to drive engagement. And we know that, right? We know that angry posts get more interaction and they're boosted more than posts that you like or that you don't click on. So one of the things that he said too is he said to the pushback of what about social media influencers who've constructed an entire business model of gaming the algorithm with outrage-inducing rhetoric? He has a message for them, and this is it. Tough luck.
Yeah, really. And you think about, ultimately, when a person acts inappropriately, they're responsible for it. But we look at what happened in the Charlie Kirk situation, and we're always looking at who's to blame. Who's to blame? Was this man, the suspect in that case, radicalized by left or the right or
online,
just sort of
right,
hate,
specifically online?
And the sad fact is, Holly, he probably was. He probably was influenced by things that he saw in the media that encouraged him, or at least got him off the table, off his chair rather, to do something he otherwise wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
And I mean, talk about taking it to about as bad of an extreme as you can. And you and I were here that day. We were literally finishing our show when that incident occurred. I'll never forget I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so they had a UVU student who they interviewed. This is from a Deseret News article, by the way, by Jason Swenson. He joins us regularly. But they had a student who talked about he was there when Charlie Kirk was killed. He was pretty close to where it happened. And he said he came to this event with the two senators because he believes that Kirk's legacy is that more debate, not less, is the healthiest way for society to overcome differences. And I think that's true. And I think sometimes when we talk about the whole Governor Cox disagree better, or we talk about the Dignity Index, that somehow people think that that's either suppression of speech or that it's just acquiescence. And we're just saying, okay, just to keep the peace, I'm just going to agree with you no matter what you say. That is not what that is. It's how do you argue with each other? How do you talk about policy disagreements while you're staying open and curious and still seeing value in that other person?
And there was such excitement when the internet started coming out and the ability to speak and to share thoughts that the legislature, the United States legislature, gave them some pretty broad swath in terms of like liability, in terms of you're not responsible for content. You can regulate things, but people on your platforms, they're the ones that are saying the things, not necessarily you. But now we're taking a step back from that. Utah's been at the forefront and saying, wait a minute, social media platforms, maybe you are responsible. Maybe if you know that some of the hate and some of the speeches coming out of your platform is causing this kind of even self-harm to individuals, not necessarily political harm, but just the result of some of those posts and some of that information, maybe these platforms should be a little more, I don't know, responsible.
Well,
I think the law is going to change in the future.
Yeah, and remember when social media started, it was not considered it was not considered like a media company that would be subjected to the same type of guardrails. And now that it has exploded, and we know that algorithms can promote self-harm and other harm, and I did a several pieces of research into different genocides, and there are a couple in modern times where Facebook was used as a platform to get people out and killing other people, and it's terrible, right? So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Even though there's pushback, John Curtis thinks that there is going to be a lot of bipartisan support.
Right, and the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. But on the other hand, we've got to take a look at what some of these messages are causing. Speaking of messages, we've got some mixed messages. Holiday hiring is weak, but Utah shopkeepers expect a busy holiday season. We'll speak with an economist when we come back after the break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. It took 43 days, but last night a government funding bill was passed and President Trump signed it. ABC's Christian Cordero says Democratic leadership is not happy that health care was left out.
Democrats who voted against the bill were pushing to extend Obamacare tax credits set to expire at the end of the year. And when they do, health insurance premiums for millions of Americans are set to skyrocket.
Either Republicans finally decide to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits this year, or the American people will throw Republicans out of their jobs next year.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries vows the fight isn't over.
Federal employees who were furloughed or had to work without pay will get all their back pay according to the funding bill. A base jumper had to be rescued after getting stuck hanging from a cliff in the Cane Creek area of Moab. The Grand County Sheriff's Office says his parachute got tangled up in the rocky terrain. It's the second base jumper incident in less than a week. A bicyclist is in the hospital after crashing on a Kaysville trail. Witnesses say they found the man unresponsive and not breathing. He was wearing a helmet at the time. He was flown to a regional trauma center soon after. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 417 this morning. We're at 47,837. Coming up extra warm for a few more days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hard to believe, but Black Friday's here, and you know what that means. It's time for Black Friday money deals at UCCU.
There is an annual tradition now for Black Friday at UCCU where people look forward to, because unlike other Black Friday sales, Black Friday at UCCU is your chance to actually improve your finances.
Like a home equity loan with extra 0.25% off the intro rate, auto and RV loans with no payment for 90 days, low-rate credit cards with 0% interest for 6 months, and $150 cash just for signing up for direct deposit.
It's so easy, and that's just the beginning of Black Friday money deals. Keep going to uccu.com every week for new premium deals that will unlock, and they're things like cutting your auto loan rate in half to earning a higher interest rate on your savings. Enter each week for a chance to win these awesome prizes.
But you got to visit uccu.com every week, but if you come back and enter every time a new deal unlocks, you can win them all. So don't just enter once. Go every week, unlock every deal, and win big this Black Friday at UCCU.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
As the temperature sinks a little lower and the wind blows a little harder, next thing you know, the winter cold is going to be seeping in through your old drafty windows. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products for custom-crafted, state-of-the-art windows that'll seal up your house and cut your heating bill. Get on their schedule before winter, and not only do you get factory direct pricing far below what the big-name companies charged, but Advanced will knock an extra $2,500 off your quote. They'll create beautiful double-pane windows with insulated frames, any style, any color, and the security features to keep your family safe. You'll get a lifetime warranty from a local company in business here for 39 years. Financing? 60 months, 0%. Or even buy now, pay later. So make the call. Seal up the house for winter with $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
For over 22 years, Speaking on Business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And back to you, Ricky.
We have the final cleanup of an earlier rollover crash involving a construction truck or some kind of tractor trailer. This is in Summit County on I-80 going eastbound. It occurred after the Summit on the way to the Highway 40 junction. And crews are out of traffic now on the right shoulder. And the good news is the delay it was causing, that has all cleared out. In fact, we are seeing good speeds return to all of your Salt Lake County freeways. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should get all the way to 69 degrees today, but it will be a bit breezy. We have a slight chance for showers tomorrow, and then mostly clear on Saturday. Highs still in the 60s until Sunday. Right now, it's 61 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
The holidays are just around the corner, Holly, and of course, Holly. And of course, that's a historic time when Americans usually get their wallets out for some serious spending. But this year, fears of recession, the high cost of goods, and the rise of holiday spending has got a lot of people being a little more cautious. And I'm looking at an article here that says seasonal hiring is the weakest since the Great Recession. So a lot of retailers will bring in seasonal hires for the holidays for the next couple of months. Even that number seems to be really down right now. These are not good signs for the economy.
It's what's super interesting to me is there's mixed messages.
Right.
So this is a Washington Post article that says the seasonal hirings are down a lot. And whether that's the businesses or it's AI or, they're just trying to maybe hedge their bets for going into the next year. So everybody who works is working more hours. I don't know. But also at the same time, the National Retail Federation expects record high spending and says we could pass the $1 trillion mark this Christmas season.
I think we need an expert to help us break this down.
Thank goodness we have one. So we have Michael Kofed with us. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. He's an assistant professor of economics at the University of Tennessee, and he is great to talk to us about some of these mixed messages from the economy.
Thanks, Holly and Greg. I'm always excited to come on.
So what do you make of these two conflicting reports? Like hiring is slow, or not just slow, but as low as it's been since the Great Recession, and yet people are still out spending and plan to spend.
Yeah, what we see in the data is sometimes called a K-shaped economy. So if you think about the letter K, one half of it goes up and the other half of it's going down. What we see is that high-income households are actually spending a lot. So they seem kind of buffeted from the economic uncertainty right now, while low-income households are seeing their consumer confidence drop and their spending also kind of go through the basement currently. A couple of reasons for this. Some are citing AI, but the Walmart story is so fascinating. Walmart reported that it's having its lowest hiring this holiday season. Walmart is the largest employer of what we would call entry-level jobs, so kind of low-paid jobs for maybe folks with a high school diploma. And what's going on is Walmart specializes in bringing in imported goods at the lowest margins to pass those cost savings. With the tariff situation, it's like a hot potato, what economists call tax incidence, who actually pays the taxes. And so Walmart now is saying, do I raise my prices and try to push myself into the target price level, or am I going to cut wages and cut employees and have them bear the tax? And we're seeing a split of both, prices going up and hiring going down.
Yeah, I was a math major, and so I was trying to think what a K-shaped market, what a K-shaped graph looked like. But
like
Michael,
the letter.
Michael, just,
like the letter K.
Yeah,
letter
it's
K,
genius. Yep. Yeah, there you go. So tell us this: why would, and maybe there's a number of factors, including AI, Amazon and groups like that. But why are retailers backing off of hiring right now?
Yeah, a lot of them are backing off because they just saw their margins get really, really small. I try to keep some contacts both in Tennessee and in Utah, and both of the states, my contacts in both states have told me that their raw materials are skyrocketing, for example, with domestic manufacturing, and their consumers are not interested in paying anymore. And so somebody has to bear this tariff cost, and that's going squarely on employees.
Oh, wow. So I'm looking at a report from the National Retail Federation, and they say that they predict retail sales in November and December will grow 3.7% to 4.2% over last year, and that they're going to surpass. They're estimating that it'll surpass $1 trillion. It can't just be higher income people who are doing this.
Nope, some of it could be shifting. So, for example, I might shift from purchasing a big expensive item to maybe fewer, smaller, less expensive items. That could be driving some of this. There's also there's some wealth effects, meaning that I feel wealthy because the stock market is a little bit up. So if I have stock holdings, for example, we're seeing that kind of spending amongst middle and high income. And also that the economy is humming along. It just seems like that we're kind of buffeting it and holding it back with some of our tariff policy and tax policies.
So I'm going to ask you just a follow-up question on, is it, even though there's economic uncertainty, and I understand what you're saying about tariff impacts, but is this such a uniquely American thing that it's just like, we don't know what we're going to do in January, but by golly, our kids are going to have a good Christmas?
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, the holidays are always that. And so what we'll see then is we'll see a lot of spending go on credit card. And so that might have some concerns for us, because if people are feeling uncertain, but they want to make sure that their kid has the greatest Christmas ever, we'll see a surge in November, December, and then a drop in January, February. This always seems to happen every December, but we could maybe see it a little bit more exaggerated. And then if I'm Walmart or if I'm Target and I'm really worried about the uncertainty, it is easier for me to maybe extend hours on an employee rather than try to bring on new employees just to have to kind of push them off in the next couple months. Those training costs are very expensive as well. But it makes it hard for maybe a household that's feeling a bit of a pinch to maybe have like a stay-at-home parent go work a half shift to bring in some of that extra income. So we'll just have to wait and see. What people say they do and what they actually do are sometimes two very different things.
We're speaking with Michael Kofod, professor of economics and writer for the Deseret News. And we're looking at another stat, a stat that we just talked about, with the National Retail Federation indicates that they're projecting companies will add 265 to 365,000 jobs, but that's a 40% drop from the 442,000 they added last year. Do you think, Michael, that this is a one-off, or do you think this is a sign of things to come? And they're blaming tariffs and other things, but we've also got AI, we've got a lot of other things that are affecting the market as it relates to the sort of the brick and mortar retail stores.
Yeah, so AI will be interesting because right now I don't think it's AI, because it's hard for me right now to have an AI go stock my shelves and unload a truck. But you could see some like automation or robotics happen in the next 5 to 6 years. The difficulty will be just be projecting out. When I talk to retailers and manufacturers, they are interested in making investments and expanding their productions, but they are not sure what the next 5 to 10 year forecast looks like right now with all the policy uncertainty.
Well, I was going to ask you, so Greg mentioned some numbers, and you mentioned to me off air that we don't actually know numbers right now.
Right.
Can you
with
talk
the
about
government
that?
shutdown, the government shutdown, the administration is saying that they will not release the October jobs nor inflation reports. This kind of seems a little bit interesting to me because you could have exempted those employees if it really was a shutdown and had them work without pay. And so right now the economy is flying blind. We need that job data both for the economists to look at, but also for retailers to look at. And also importantly, the Federal Reserve has their next meeting coming up, and they are not sure what inflation numbers or job numbers look like right now. So that forces us to go look at alternative data sources like the Walmart hiring data, or sometimes sources like Burning Glass that tries to privately measure these employment numbers, but our gold standard isn't there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us again, Michael. I really appreciate it. Look, we keep talking about Utah rankings, and we have another one for you. We're number 2 in the amount of connectedness, community connectedness. We're going to talk with the president of the Utah Foundation about connection and social capital. When we come back, stay with us.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you, like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police.
I'll take that as a compliment. See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
The new Inside Sources.
So we have a favorable stat. Yesterday we had Utah ranking second in public service, I think it was. Community service.
Charitable giving, I think.
Charitable giving.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. Well, now we're learning that Utah is ranked second. We got to get our numbers up, Utah. But we're doing incredibly well. In the nation for community connection, according to a Cache Valley daily study. That means Utah residents are among the most connected and community-oriented in the nation.
So Cache Valley Daily published it, but it's actually a report from an organization called Smile Hub, which I'm totally not familiar with. So every time we talk about these rankings, you have to say, with a caveat,
right? Yes,
right. How do they rank, et cetera. But one of the things that struck me immediately and what made me think about asking our next guest on is because we've talked, Utah Foundation is an organization that is, they do a lot of polling. They're nonpartisan. I think they're a really interesting think tank. And Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong in describing the Utah Foundation, but they've talked a lot about social capital. And so what I wanted to do is have Sean Teagan, who you're the president. Is that right, Sean?
That's correct.
Of the Utah Foundation, to talk to us. First of all, can you tell us, just define social capital, and then let's talk about Utah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like you said, Holly, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan public policy research group. That means we're independent. We have a big board of a lot of different people that are just interested in policy types of issues. And one of those policy issues that they're interested in is broadly connected to it's this idea of social capital. And these are the connections that we have, both as individuals and communities, with each other that benefit us in some ways. And certainly there are some bad, perhaps bad sorts of social capital, like if we're like in a gang together and we're doing some murders or something. I think that's probably not a good form of social capital. But we're focusing on this project. This is one of our signature projects that we revisit every few years, and this is focusing on those good connections that benefit us in some way.
Yeah. I'm looking at a report that you have on your website about neighborhoods and networks, how community life links with social capital. And it was posted the middle of October. I'm wondering if you can talk to us about your finding that Utah has the highest ranking of community life in the nation, but it also, our index has fallen. So talk to us about the highest ranking of community life.
Yeah. So this community life, this is one of 7 different kind of sub-indices that we focus on. And in terms of community life, we think about some of the same things that they're talking about in this Smile Hub report. We think about charitable donations, volunteerism, religious participation, and this concept of neighborhood participation, where we're like helping out our neighbors, like shoveling snow or mowing the lawn or whatever. We do really well on those 4 metrics. But we've got a few other metrics that we don't do as well on, and that's focusing on things like spending times with friends and neighbors, and then kind of how much we're supporting like non-professional and professional organizations and associations. So we don't do quite as well there. But so we take all these metrics together, number one in the country in terms of community life. And this is, like I said, one of these 7 kind of factors that we take into play when we're talking about social capital. But with this one and a couple of the other ones that we're doing really well on, we unfortunately see a downward trend. Like you said, Holly, we're struggling in some of these metrics in terms of, like, we started off really high, but we're still number one. But when you look at particularly things like religious participation, we in Utah and folks around the nation we're on a downhill slide there. And when we think about spending time with friends and neighbors, we're spending less time with friends and neighbors, less time with family, because we're spending more time alone across the United States, but also in Utah. And so we're kind of heading in the wrong direction in terms of some of these community life metrics.
Yeah, you mentioned another metric that we're falling down a little bit here, Sean, and you helped me define the one with friends and family. But what about this supporting organizations, supporting profit and nonprofit organizations? What do we fail in? How are we failing there?
Yeah, so we think about that in terms of, and we haven't been quite as good on this metric, and I have perhaps an explanation for it. But we in Utah, we don't participate in professional associations to the level that the average kind of Americans do, and particularly for non-professional organizations. So when we think about professional associations, that might be like a group of lawyers. You know, we get together and we meet and do some of our required kind of community activities and stuff for this profession, or maybe it's a group of nurses and we get together and talk about nursing or whatever. So that's those professional associations. The non-professional ones are more like these organizations, like soccer. Pickup soccer teams and basketball leagues and stuff in the community, and maybe pickleball. And so we don't do quite as well in those metrics, but to my mind, I think perhaps one of the reasons why is because we do so well in terms of religious participation. We're behind just one state in terms of how connected we are to our like making sure we're going to church and whatnot on the weekends and other times. And so I think that there's only so much time in a day, and even though maybe we're spending more time on our phones, we still only have so much time in a day, and so we don't do as well on a couple of those metrics. But like Holly said, we're still number one in the nation in terms of community life. So and there's a benefit there.
So Sean, we're speaking with Sean Teagan, the president of the Utah Foundation. I just wonder, the spending time with friends and family. I think your report says we're number 38th in the nation. I'm just wondering if it's because we're so busy with family, because that's my case.
Yeah. No, so I think that is. So when you look at how we are in terms of spending time with family, I think we do pretty well. And when the way we measured this is spending time with family while eating, exercise, and socializing. So this is when we get together and we're hanging out with family. The report that came out before this community life one is all about family health, and that has to do with family structure and quality of family ties. And so we're more middle of the pack in terms of spending time with family while doing some of these activities. We're actually pretty bad in terms of families eating together. We're 10th worst in terms of families eating a meal together daily, which is kind of surprising. Like I frankly don't understand that one, and we thought about that quite a bit, and I don't know what that is. If
that surprises me too.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that it's possible that like maybe if we've got a large family, then some of us get together and like we typically in Utah have larger families than people around the nation. Some of us get together, and so that maybe that has something to do with that metric. I didn't fully understand that one, but I think that it is that we do we've got maybe a larger kind of community of people that we're spending time with, but we're also nonetheless still, like the rest of the nation, spending more and more time alone every year.
We've only got about a minute left, Sean, but talk to our listeners rather about what was behind this study. I mean, is it sort of the overall health of a community, the overall health of a state?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why we're interested in this. And we actually started thinking about this about 6 or 7 years ago. And we brought Robert Putnam in, who's the author of Bowling Alone, to kind of talk about some of this stuff. And ultimately, what's behind this is, and I brought this up about policy earlier, if we're heading in the wrong direction on a few of these metrics, maybe we can do something in terms of pulling some policy levers to go head back in the right direction. For instance, like I brought up this family health, like the strength of family structure, we're doing really well on that, but the quality of family ties, maybe we're not doing as well on that. And we spend a lot of time on electronic devices when we're like everybody else in the nation. Maybe we should think about eating more meals together. And then in terms of, maybe some of these like soccer leagues and pickleball leagues, maybe we get out and try to meet up with people in the community and talk more one-on-one while we're exerting a little bit of effort as well. I think there's some things we can do in the state to kind of push ourselves back in the right direction.
Thank you so much, Sean. We've been speaking with Sean Teagan from the Utah Foundation, and if you want to look at that report or a series of reports, it's utahfoundation.org.
When we come back, we're going to talk about something Holly's taught me about today, which is a giving machine. We'll learn about what those are and how they're relevant right now when we come back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story, we're learning more about a woman from Holiday, last seen in Santa Cruz, California. Danielle Staley was traveling with a friend when she went missing from Aptos about a week ago.
Her and her friend had met a group of people on the beach. We're having a bonfire with them. And then the friend separated from the group. And then the next morning couldn't find Miss Staley.
Zach West with the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office confirmed her belongings were found on the beach. They are currently working to identify who the group of people having the bonfire was. Our top national story, President Trump last night signed a funding bill ending the longest government shutdown in American history.
Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are being asked to return to work. They'll soon get back pay, but federal contractors like Willie Joe Price are out of luck.
How much stress does this put on you to go this long without a paycheck?
It's hard. In the process, during this shutdown, my car broke down.
She's a cafeteria worker at the Library of Congress and has not been paid in more than 40 days.
ABC's Rachel Scott reporting. Your money at this moment. Right now, the Dow is down 390. We're at 47,874. Coming up well above normal for a few more days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done because soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here is Ricky Meese.
In Utah County, we do have a surface street crash in Orem. This is at 8th North and Geneva Road. They're trying to stay over to the right shoulder. But just be aware that they are sort of in traffic, but not causing any kind of backup. Where we do have some slowing, that's southbound I-15 as you go from the I-84 junction down to Roy. That's through that Riverdale construction area, so expect some slow speeds. Keep that big event energy big. Take UTA and skip the parking lot. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm today for mid-November with a high of 69, 67 tomorrow. A 30% chance of a shower tomorrow, but Saturday looks dry with a high of 64. Right now it's 57 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I was telling Holly yesterday I've never heard of a giving machine, and now I'm learning that they've popped up in 126 cities across the world. Our next guest told us that they've actually been in existence for some
almost
time.
a decade.
How have I missed these? I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Maybe you don't go Christmas shopping enough. I don't know.
I'm going to get out.
Well, here's the invitation, Greg. You and I can go together. Let's go to a giving machine, and you can experience it, and then you will never forget what a giving machine is.
Amy Kobabe speaking, reporter for the Church News. So tell me and our listeners who are like me, what is it? And I will go. Absolutely, with you, I'll go anywhere.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Let's go. There will be one just across the street from us here at the Church History Museum, City Creek. We get two in Salt Lake. So a giving machine is a bright red kiosk. It looks like a vending machine, but instead of having chips and candy, there are little cards that say things like 10 meals, clothes, school supplies, things that can be used for small communities in other countries, like a chicken or a goat, or things that could be used to start a business, a sewing kit, those kinds of things. So you can select one of these items. The church covers, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints covers all the overhead. So that donation goes to a partner organization and goes to a community in need, an individual in need. So it allows people for Christmas to not receive something for themselves, but to be a part of their community, to give something to someone in need. And at the media kind of event that they held to announce the 126 cities yesterday, the church, the focus really was we can be like the wise men of old. The wise men were looking forward to the birth of the Savior Jesus Christ, and they brought gifts to him to celebrate that. And so we too can be a part of that by bringing gifts, bringing what we can, and offering up maybe a little bit of a sacrifice to help someone in need. And in that way, we follow and we celebrate Jesus Christ.
So, Amy, I've been Christmas shopping. I do a lot of it online now, so maybe that's what Greg has been doing. But I went to a mall close to my house last Christmas season, and the mall wasn't super busy, but there was a line out the door for the giving machine that was down there in the mall.
Great.
Yeah, it really was great. So I have a question for you, and that is, how do organizations get chosen to be able to be recipients of whatever is in these giving machines?
That is a great question. And a lot of these organizations, like the American Red Cross, have a partnership already with the church that is ongoing. But these partnerships are, well, the partner organizations are also local. So there are several that are international, like the American Red Cross, that work with the World Food Program is another, that work with the church year round. And so they have those partnerships. But there are also people on the ground in the Philippines. There are people on the ground in across the world in different countries looking for organizations that are doing this kind of great work to partner with. And so in other countries, there are other things you can donate. And so it's not just okay, I'm doing this for people in some place I'd never heard of. People in the Philippines are donating to people in the Philippines in a lot of cases. And so it's really broad. So there are a lot of organizations that want to be a part of this, that are trying to get in on this as well. And so there's work year round with the church to get this. And they are also ensuring that these organizations have an understanding that their overhead costs as well. A small portion can be used, but they really want all of these donations made by individuals to go to individuals, families, communities in need.
Obviously, it's sort of the giving time of year. Are these giving machines seasonal?
Yes, it is just seasonal. So in some locations, they'll open just before Thanksgiving, some just after, and they will last until the start of the new year. So it's really, there's some of that excitement to just do it during Christmas. And again, it goes back to that gift. This is a way to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate the Savior Jesus Christ in this special way. And there is always the option to look up the church on their website lists all of these organizations. We have several listed in the Church News, our report. And you can go to those and know that, okay, if I make a donation, online shopping, I am an online shopper too. You can also make that donation, but there is something special about going to one of these giving machine kiosks and being a part of that, seeing your donation kind of drop down into the box and knowing that, okay, there's something that I have physically done here.
And is there like a menu? This is a particular organization or group or country or cause that you may want to feel strongly about and say, hey, I really feel comfortable. I really want to give to this community here. And you can look that up in the giving machine.
You can look that up. And they're organized by kind of item, but they do, some of them list, what organization they're partnering with. So if it is, sometimes it's a local food bank though.
Sure.
And so you obviously can donate meals to a local food bank, but doing it through this way, you can donate 10 meals. And so they're kind of grouped in that. And, or you could donate school supplies. That's one that I want to support school supplies for kids, right? So you have the option to select all, and every single item, you donate one of every single thing that's in the machine at that point.
Wow.
And it donates all of those.
You should do that.
I'm going to.
Wow, on air, the gauntlet has been...
Let me ask you about the numbers, if you can tell us. So this is 126 cities across the world, but but this is an expansion, right?
This is an expansion. This is more than ever before. So last year it was just over 100. So this year 126. It'll be in 21 countries on 6 continents this year. And several of those countries have never had these kiosks before. Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Chile, Italy, Japan, Spain, and Thailand. And I was really interested. A lot of these countries, we focus on these cities, but there are also people in countries around the world that are benefiting from this. So in one of the conversations we had behind the scenes yesterday in our team, we were so excited because they showed recipients in the Ukraine and people in Ukraine saying thank you in their native language for this. And so some of these donations, even though we're highlighting the cities, there's no limit to really where these donations are going. And so it's cool to see that expansion of cities, but also it does expand then maybe some of the people that can donate and just allowing more people to celebrate Jesus Christ in this way.
Did you say there's going to be a machine set up close by here?
Yeah, let's go to City Creek
when
that
we've
one
got
opens
a date,
up.
as soon as I can walk.
As soon as you can
Probably
walk,
about the same time.
Let's
right.
go either to that one or there will be one here in Salt Lake as well at the Church History Museum, and we can go there. So there's Orem Provo. A lot of people I know line up there. Several new locations in Idaho. It's just the full list we have on thechurchnews.com, and there's also on the church's website, they have a map and you can look up when they open, but most of them open just after Thanksgiving.
We're doing it.
Yeah, is that the case in right here in Utah? Is just after Thanksgiving they'll be open?
I believe so. Some of the dates are a little bit... That's a good question, and
Okay.
I'll have to come back to you on that, Holly.
Okay.
We'll get the for sure
Thanks,
date.
Amy.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us in studio. And we're going to talk politics when we come back. 1st Congressional District. We already have 2 politicians who've announced for that seat.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy, and you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home.
You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Inside Sources.
It's only been a couple of days now since a Utah judge has decided that the redistricting maps in Utah needed to be changed, and one of the changes was that a district now may very well be competitive for a Democrat. That's the district that carves out a pretty good chunk of Salt Lake County. So, of course, after that, you start thinking, are Democrats going to start looking forward to that race? Are we going to have people that are jumping in?
The answer is yes.
That may not be what we've considered to be the sort of sacrificial lambs in the past, because it may very well be a competitive race.
Well, one of the parts of the discussion, right, aside from the anger that has come from one side about this decision, it is the map that the judge ruled was the most appropriate map is a donut hole in the northern part of Salt Lake County, which tends to lean Democratic.
Sure.
So instead of what you might consider a swing district that could go back and forth, so if you remember Congresswoman Mia Love, who was a Republican, she won for Congressional District 4, and then Ben McAdams, who's a Democrat, won, and then Burgess Owens won, and he's a Republican, right? So that one's kind of gone back and forth. Well, now if you have this district, it's going to lean pretty heavily Democratic, which ends up being an interesting twist to the conversation about who might run. So in order to answer that question, we actually have two people who have already announced that they're running.
Two Democrats.
Two Democrats. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And maybe one of them's not the best kept secret, because a lot of people were thinking Ben McAdams was in the background, hoping that something like this would happen and that he would jump in.
Well,
I was a little surprised at the other name.
It was not a secret that Ben was looking at it. I was getting fundraising pitches on my phone saying, hey, we think that this district is going to be good for Ben McAdams. Here, donate here. So the person who jumped in first actually was Utah Senator Kathleen Reeby. She announced yesterday, and then Ben McAdams announced today that he's going to run. So they're both in. What's interesting to me is I suspect this might be a race where you see multiple Democrats jumping in because they could all have a chance.
Didn't Reeby run against Celeste Malloy for Congressman Stewart's open seat? I forget how that all went down, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but it seems like she did jump into that race for some period of time.
She ran for something.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, as a Democrat running in red Utah, she did not win that race, but she's in an area of Salt Lake. I think she ran in the 2nd Congressional District special election. So she lives, if I understand correctly, if I remember correctly, she lives like up in the avenues maybe. But So she's looking at running, or she is going to run. Ben McAdams is going to run. There's a couple of other names I've heard, and I don't have any. Nobody's called me on these names. Nate Bluin, state senator, tends to be pretty progressive.
Right.
And that there may be others as well who look at it and say, you know what, this is my chance. I, again, haven't heard any inside information about this, but there could be Senator Luz Escamilla, for example, or another Democrat in Utah. I've even heard Brian King's name floated out there. So I don't know, but this could be a pretty crowded field for the Democrats. And I don't know if any of the sitting congressional representatives right now, I don't know if any of the Republicans that are currently in Congress will throw their hat in the ring for this seat.
Yeah, you would expect one of them to, because otherwise they're going to lose. One of them may lose their position, but I mean, or run against each other within one of the other districts.
That's right.
There could be a
That's right.
contest.
Or there could be one of them that's like, you know what, I've done my time in public office, and back when the founders created this country, they thought people should serve in public office and then get out and go back to their normal lives. And so it may be that one of the current representatives decides that they're not going to run again. But you're right. I mean, that's one of the issues is who's going to run in that spot, because it does change the nature of who's more likely to win.
But I mean, I'm thinking about our current congressional representatives, and none of them are very blue in the tooth. I mean, there are people that are pretty new in terms of being.
They're relatively new.
Right.
I think the person who's been there the longest now,
Burgess Owens, probably.
It's either Burgess Owens or it's Blake Moore. I'm not sure. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see all of them run again. You do not have to live in your district for Congress to be able to run. But the way the process works in Utah is you have a caucus convention system, and the Democrats do as well. And so they can run just straight to caucus delegates. They can gather signatures and not go the caucus convention route, or they can do both, which is what many Republicans choose to do, is they do both.
Well, let's talk about some of these names that we mentioned so far. Ben McAdams, popular name, well known. He was our Salt Lake County mayor at one time. He actually served in Congress for a period of time.
Yep.
He brings to the table that name recognition. He raised a ton of money. And part of running for Congress is being able to raise dough.
Oh my
he
gosh.
raised a lot of money when he ran against Burgess Owens, and I think he raised a lot of money in another race too. But so he's got those factors going for him, I would think.
You know, one of the things about Ben is I know him as somebody who is a centrist. So he's in the Democratic Party, but he tends to be, I think, center left. He's not far left, right? He's not, at least in my estimation. I think he's fiscally conservative. I have spoken on panels with him before. In fact, he and I spoke on a panel about basically, can you be involved in politics and stay true to your religion, right? And both of us were like, yeah, even though we're different political parties, we're like, yeah, our religion does inform our political decisions as well. So when he defeated former Representative Mia Love in 2018, he won by fewer than 700 votes. So it was a very, very tight race. And then there was redistricting, and then Burgess Owens beat him, but it was still by less than 1 percentage point.
So with this redistricting that we're looking at here in that particular district, is there a risk that McAdams could be seen as too centrist?
Well, I think there could be. I mean, that's going to be up to the voters, right? If that's going to be up to the voters. What do they want to have happen back there?
Right. And so let's talk about Kathleen Reeby.
Yep.
I mean, I've known her for a while. She's a current state senator.
That's
correct?
right. Yeah.
And she served for some period of time. I think I was right that she ran for the open seat with
That's right.
That Curtis.
Yeah, that's right. That Celeste Malloy ran for when Chris Stewart stepped down.
Chris Stewart, I keep saying Curtis.
Yeah,
right,
it's
Chris
okay.
Stewart, when he opted to retire, and she jumped in. I think she ran a respective race, and I think that got her name out a little bit. And I think she probably raised some money within that race as well.
She's I think she's a known figure in Utah politics, but maybe that's because I'm a political nerd. But she has been pretty outspoken. I think she's somebody who has done a variety of jobs, and she said this in her statement launching her campaign yesterday. She said her jobs have included teacher, truck driver, waitress, police dispatcher, barista, forestry technician. And she said, I know what it's like to struggle and what working families go through to make ends meet. And so she said she was really, one of the things that really motivated her was seeing those 8 Democrats approve the Republican spending bill to reopen the government. And she's like, why did you not stay firm?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I mean, nobody was surprised at Ben McAdams, but Kathleen Reeby came out of the chute very quickly, Holly.
Yeah.
And a name that a lot of us didn't expect. I mean, do you think there's some benefit to her jumping in quick and
Sure.
saying, so that maybe other Democrats, like some of the names you mentioned, might say, "Wow, we've already got a field. We've already got two pretty good candidates."
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem to work on the Republican side. If you see an open seat, a lot of times you will see just a flurry of people who file. I mean, I think the last time when Senator Curtis ran, there were more than a dozen candidates for that seat because it was an open seat. Mitt Romney wasn't running again. I mean, there will be a lot of people who jump into this race, I suspect.
And maybe from the Republican side too. I mean, it's got to be nice for people in some of these districts, especially that district now, to say, well, we finally got somebody that we can vote for, or at least feel like our vote might count. And I know that the Republicans are upset, and who knows how long this will last. It may be a one-off. This may be a donut hole for one segment for 2 years, and then we go back to a different map in 2028. We don't know, but at least there's some opportunity for some Democrats and some people to jump in here and say, "Hey, wait a minute, let me take a shot at this."
Yeah. Here's something interesting too: is Kathleen Reeby, who is currently in office, would not have to step down from her seat because she's mid-cycle, so she's not up for re-election in 2026. She's not up until 2028, so she could run, and if she wins, then she would step down from her seat. But if she didn't win, she could continue as a Utah State Senator.
I think the same was true when she ran.
For
Recently,
Congress.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Interesting.
Yeah. Also interesting that the longest shutdown in U.S. history has finally come to an end after a whopping 43 days. That's a record we hope we never break. We're going to talk about getting the government back in gear when we come back after the break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. Students at University of Utah dorm had a shelter in place last night. Police say someone called claiming they stabbed their girlfriend and were going to start shooting an automatic rifle. Police swept Kellard Village only to find no weapon, victim, or real threat. Utah Police Administrative Captain Jason Hinojosa says swatting is a problem they deal with time to time.
This is a very serious crime. There was a huge police presence on campus, and that presence, causes panic, it causes fear. And then it also detracts from legitimate calls for service.
Hinojosa says they will be asking federal investigators to help them track down where the call came from. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James have teamed up in court. They're accusing the government of fraudulently appointing the U.S. attorney who charged them. Lindsay Halligan was appointed as U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia with no experience as a prosecutor. Her appointment was approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi.
In that ratification that Pam Bondi signed, she said that she had reviewed all of the grand jury transcripts and material. Now, what the judge is revealing inside the courtroom and questioning the government on is how could that be the case? Because the judge who was provided the grand jury transcript of when Lindsay Halligan went to seek the indictment from the grand jury says that there are missing parts of it.
ABC's Catherine Falders reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 486 points. The S&P is down 88 points. And coming up, highs near 70s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 11:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you're getting new gutters, make absolutely sure that you don't get screwed. I mean literally, don't get screwed. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And every single gutter company out there uses screws to hold their gutters together at the corners and downspouts. They use screws because they're fast and cheap and easy, but man, they're terrible for your gutters, aside from possibly cutting your hand. They also loosen and corrode over time because they're not made from the same metal as the gutters. At RGS Exteriors, we've been installing gutters for 70 years now, and we don't use screws. We only use permanent, strong, and unobtrusive rivets. They're made from the same material as the gutters, so they won't oxidize and they won't corrode. They'll also never loosen. Your hand is safe too. Did I mention they look amazing? So don't get screwed. Call RGS and get riveted gutters. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsutah.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have an accident in the Murray area. This is at the on-ramp westbound I-215 southbound at State Street. Those vehicles are out of traffic on the shoulder. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 69 today with mostly sunny skies. The warmth sticks around for the next few days. 67 tomorrow, 64 Saturday. We're expecting a storm to move in on Sunday. Right now it is 66 and sunny. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, as we talked about at the top of the show, the government shutdown is finally over, but things don't necessarily just go back to the way they were. And part of the reason, Holly, is because the shutdown wasn't just for a couple days or a couple weeks. It was for 43 days. It was a record shutdown. And it's not like, okay, it's over, everything's back to normal. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and you said hopefully we won't do this again. Well, the government's only funded for 2 more months.
Yeah.
So.
January, we may have another discussion.
Oh my gosh. We have congressional correspondent Cami Mondo. Cami, we have talked to you so many times. Thank you for joining us
I know,
again.
It finally feels like, weight lifted off our shoulders here.
Oh, gosh. So tell us a little bit about the process yesterday about the House vote and the President Trump signature. Did it go a little faster than you were anticipating or others were anticipating?
Yes, it did go a lot faster than we thought. We had kind of had questions about whether Democrats would want to drag this out a little bit. We did see Hakeem Jeffries on the floor using what is called his magic minute speech. That only lasted about 10 minutes, I think, so it's over just as quickly as we thought, and they got the vote done as quickly as they could.
It seemed, Cami, that some of the House members were not necessarily pleased with the tweaks that the Senate made, but then that didn't seem to hold it up.
Absolutely. There is that, we had talked about that one provision that they snuck in there on the Senate side, allowing senators to sue over having their phone records obtained without them knowing. That did anger a lot of House Republicans on this side, and it even caused one of them, Greg Steube from Florida, he actually switched his vote to no last night, but he was the only one who actually voted against it. The others were satisfied enough that Speaker Johnson said they'll vote on a separate bill next week to repeal that, even though it's not guaranteed that they actually will be able to pass that in the Senate.
Let me ask you about the process of getting back to normal. So I understand, and this is from a USDA spokesperson, that SNAP benefits, they expect them to be like basically the spigot turned back on within 24 hours. So hopefully today or tomorrow. What about the rest of the payments that need to go out? How long will that take?
It could take a couple days, at least a week. I've been hearing from some people who are federal workers expecting back pay that those payments should start hitting their bank accounts, as early as the middle of next week. But whether, that could get held up, who knows? But that is the expectation that over the next week or so, things should start being back to normal. But like you were saying earlier, it won't be like a snap of the fingers, everything going back to the way it was.
Cammie, what can you tell us about the mood on the Hill right now? Is there some feeling that, hey, okay, we're done, let's start moving forward here? Or are the Democrats upset that we had the 8 break away, Republicans upset that we had to go through all of this? What can you tell us about both bodies as they're starting to get together, start meeting again, and start passing some legislation?
Absolutely. You're definitely going to keep hearing about that healthcare, Obamacare subsidies, extensions from Democrats. They are not going to let up on that. You have House Democrats who introduced a new discharge petition that would be a 3-year extension, whereas on the Senate side, those Democrats are going to try and go with a 1-year extension, whereas Republicans are going to try and do some kind of compromise there. So you have Democrats who are going to stick to that. Republicans, you're going to likely see them try to get back to normal. The House is going to go full steam ahead. They're going to be in all 5 days next week. They're just going to try to catch up with all of the work that they've been missing.
When before the vote yesterday on the ending the shutdown, there was a swearing in from the representative from Arizona, and she was the final signature on that discharge petition to release the Epstein files. Is that something that is going to be voted on before Thanksgiving, or are we looking at maybe into December even for that?
We'd initially thought it would be the first week of December just because of how procedural rules work. But Speaker Johnson did say last night that he's just going to bring it up on the floor next week. So we do expect to see a vote right when we get back. So we do expect that, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
Other priorities in the House, Cammie, as we get back together that Johnson may have tipped his hand and shown us a little bit? Or what do you expect now, maybe between now and the end of the year?
So I do expect that we're going to see a lot of the appropriators starting to do those full year spending bills because, Holly, as you mentioned, this only goes until the end of January to keep the government open. So we are going to see a lot of movement on those full year funding bills to see if they can get those put. I think that'll be the top priority, as well as some solution to the healthcare, Obamacare expiring subsidies. So I think those are going to be the top 2 priorities that we'll see before the end of the year.
We're heading into holiday season. In fact, I think we're in it. Thanksgiving's 2 weeks from today. Christmas is 6 weeks, basically. How much work are the House and Senate going to actually do without going back for, I guess, the holidays?
Right. They're really going to be in crunch time, I think, in January because, in November and December, they're not going to be in Washington very much. I think the last time I looked at the calendar, the House is only in for about 14 or 15 legislative days. They could add to the calendar. Of course, they already added next Friday to the schedule. But yeah, they're not going to be up in Washington very much for the next month and a half of this end year. So January is really going to be that crunch time.
Just having your finger on the pulse over there, Cammie, what do you think happened that caused these 8 Democrats to change? I mean, do you think that we just got to a point after 43 days that something had to happen and the Republicans just weren't going to change? Or do you think that there was some quid pro quo that maybe we don't or maybe do know about?
I think for the most part, it's just that Democrats had expected Republicans and President Trump to eventually cave if they had lasted so long. But as we saw, 6 weeks in, they just realized that there was no convincing these Republicans to just permanently extend in the way that they wanted. So I think for those 8, they just took what they could get and realized that there's no use in trying to keep holding other people as, bargaining chips. I think they just realized that they were in a losing fight and they might as well end it sooner rather than later.
I know a number of people, including Utah Senator John Curtis, are saying, look, we have to do this in a different way. We can't continue to run the country by continuing resolution. And yet it feels like we just keep doing that. And by we, I mean them. But is there actually any real movement to say we have to go back to a normal budgeting process there?
I think we are going to see, at least for this next few weeks, a lot of these, Republicans, John Curtis included, who want to change how the process works. This has been a conversation that comes up pretty much every September when we come up to that deadline. But I think we might see a little bit more motivation now that we're coming out of a record-long shutdown. We might actually see different lawmakers introducing bills that take care of things like paying federal workers during a shutdown, or I've even heard some proposals where they don't want lawmakers to have the ability to leave Washington if we're in a shutdown. So we might see more of those proposals coming out in the next few weeks. Whether they go anywhere, we never know. But
Cami, let me ask you one more question. We've got less than a minute, and this is completely off topic, but have you heard anything from our congressional representatives about this redistricting? There have been any preliminary talks there?
I haven't heard from any of our current lawmakers just yet, kind of probably taking it all in. I've asked them over the last few weeks as we were waiting for these decisions, but, they've kind of take a step back. Let's see what actually happens. But as you guys know, we already have a lot of Democrats who are jumping at the bit to get in there.
All right. Thanks again, Cami, for speaking with us. Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent, and we keep talking to her about shutdown.
Hopefully
now
we
can
don't
talk about
to her
something
for
else.
A little while, as much as we like her.
Okay, look, for first-time homebuyers are aging, and I was actually really surprised to see that nationally we're looking at age 40 to buy your first home. And at the same time, we have more young adults living with their parents. We're going to talk about that when we come back after this break.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
The holiday season is shining bright at Junction Commons Park City. Join them for their second annual tree lighting on Thursday, November 20th, starting at 4 p.m. Bring your family, friends, and neighbors for an evening filled with holiday magic. Enjoy live, festive music, delicious food trucks, and the always popular Swig Soda truck, serving up your favorite drinks. Kids will love getting creative with holiday crafts, and everyone can soak in the sights, sounds, and the magic of the holiday season. As the evening winds down, gather around the highlight of the night when Outlets Park City flip the switch and light up their beautiful holiday tree as they officially kick off the holiday season. It's the perfect way to celebrate. Festive, free, and full of holiday cheer. Don't miss the magic Thursday, November 20th at 4 p.m. at Junction Commons, Park City's second annual tree lighting. Junction Commons, mountaintop holiday fun in Park City.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. More fiber?
What?
Down here, buddy. It's me, your spoon. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, but Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Here are some really interesting numbers. Prior to 1989, the average age of a first-time homebuyer was in their 20s. Then, around 1989, it hit 30. In 2021, it hit 33. In 2022, it gets up to 36, 38 in 2024, and now it has hit an all-time high of 40. The average first-time homebuyer is 40 now. That almost seems like that's when you're buying your second home. You know what I mean?
Or more. Yeah. My first home. So we bought our first home in 1990, and I was in my mid-20s. I was 25, maybe 26.
Yeah, that's the same with me. And it's a factor of the fact that home prices have just shot through the roof.
That's part of it. Yeah. And it's interesting. So it was interesting to me to see that there were a couple of articles this just today, actually. So when I was, again, putting together the newsletter for today, the Utah Policy Newsletter, there was an article about this national home age or home buying age and whether that was the same for Utah. And then there was also one in a different news source. So one was Deseret News, the other one was the Salt Lake Tribune, but talking about how many people are living with their parents, right? The multi-generational living, or can't launch because it's so expensive.
And those two factors probably
go together.
Dovetail, right? Yeah. If you can't afford a home, maybe you live at home for a while until you can raise some money to do that. Of course, I don't know how I would feel. I miss my kids, and I would love if any of them came back home. But in their 40s, you kind of think, hey, maybe it's time you
It might
spread
be
your
time.
wings here.
It
right.
might be time. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. So the Deseret News article is written by Lisa Riley Roche. She's been a Deseret News reporter for more than 30 years. But it's just interesting. Last year, when it hit 38, that was record breaking. And this year, it's 40. And in fact, in this article, it says they were talking to somebody. This is the New York Times talking to somebody from the National Association of Realtors. And she just said the number is shocking. It's been a steep climb, right? It's been a steep climb. So
it's not just Utah. I mean, this is national.
No,
It's
you're right.
because-
This is
it's
national.
Because home prices continue to skyrocket. We had a sort of a reset, I don't know, 20 years ago when the bubble burst, and maybe that gave people some hope that home prices had come down. Of course, interest rates were quite low back then too.
Yeah.
And people who were in a position to buy a first-time home were better set than they are today, where what's the average home price in Utah is getting close
to $600,000.
Yeah. Who can afford that, especially at 6% interest or maybe higher.
Yep. Yeah, and so Utah doesn't have exactly the data that can transfer straight across to say what's the age of first-time home buyers. So what we do have, and this is from the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute that's up at the U, the most current available from 2024 showed that Utahns aged 25 to 34 accounted for 35% of new mortgages in the state, 25% age 35 to 44, 16% ages 45 to 54, and a total of 14% for everybody older than 55. But so what they're thinking is it probably does skew a little younger in Utah, but you can't really tell because it doesn't break out first-time home buyers versus somebody who's buying their second home or third home.
And what we're learning from younger people is that this isn't necessarily catastrophic news. I mean, there are a lot of people today who think, I don't know that I need to buy a home. The idea that you and I were raised with, that at some point...
That's the American dream.
Yeah, you have to buy a home, and you do that sometime in your 20s, and then you buy a bigger home, and ultimately you buy your dream home. I don't know that that's part of the American dream in the way it was in the past, because some people think, well, why should I be burdened by a mortgage for 15 years or 30 years?
Or 50.
Or 50 years if Trump has his way, when I can travel, I can do things, I can play with my kids and buy things that I couldn't afford otherwise and rent and live in a little bit higher level of comfort than I would be if I was saddled, I should say, with a mortgage.
So it's an interesting thing, and we've talked about it multiple times on Inside Sources, and we've had a number of texters, right, who've talked about multi-generational living, meaning they have their adults and they have their adult children back with them, and I think it's growing, and I think that's what the numbers are showing. So this one, this article from the Salt Lake Tribune is if your adult kids still live at home, you're not alone. And I think we know that, right? It's whether it is you have a separate basement apartment, for example. They used to be called mother-in-law apartments, right? Which is still multi-generational living, but it could be for your kids. So the adult kids that I have that live in my house, they don't have a separate apartment. We share the same kitchen. When I've had adult kids living at home, and they may or may not eat with us. Speaking of family dinner, like we talked with Sean Teagan earlier about, but it's available to them if they want to.
And it's almost happened just within the last few years, and we're talking about the fact that these numbers changed. I mean, my kids, all born before 1990, a little bit different generation, all are in homes, all are married, all have their degrees. My wife's kids born since then, a little different. They're not buying their homes yet. Some are even attending some school still. So even that break there, and maybe that's just my own personal experience, but my adult children who were born prior to 1990 are more committed, I guess, to buying a home than those born after that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what we're seeing, right, is this generational shift. And we had, I remember a previous conversation where we were talking about this, and we had a texter, we were talking about the high cost of housing, and they just said that they went in on the mortgage payments with their adult child and their family, and so that they were sharing this so that they could continue to afford the house payment. But it's interesting, and you've mentioned that you would love to have your kids come back. It's different to live with adult kids. I don't know what it would be like if we had a completely separate one, but it is interesting.
Yeah, and of course, we still have a fairly big house, so we have room for our adult kids and their kids. And
Sure.
I would invite it. My wife's like, well, let's just downsize.
Right.
But, we'll be great someday.
Well,
But
yesterday, we were talking about that very topic, and we had a texter say, Holly, your house shrinks because I was talking about downsizing, and she reminded me that kids come back, but they bring extras with them, right? A spouse and kids.
Don't shrink too much because then you might be falling all over each other. No, I would love it if any of my kids or grandkids wanted to come live with us for a while. It's easy to say. You know,
Right.
maybe after 2 or 3 years, you'd be like, okay, time to get moving on.
Well, I think I've talked about this before, but we've had 2 of our adult children come and live in our home while they were married, and they were saving money to be able to put down a down payment to buy their first home, right? So basically, we let them live at our house rent-free for a year, and they were pooling their money so that they could make a good-sized down payment, which they did. Both of them did that.
Problem that we have is that our home is up in Eden, up in the Ogden Valley, and so our children that don't currently own a home that would probably enjoy living with us can't because the commute.
Yeah.
I mean, I commute to KSL every day. It's not the end of the world, but some people that takes too much time, especially if they've got to get daycare and things like that. So if we had it at the same house in Salt Lake City, or at least along the Wasatch Front a little more, we'd probably have a kid living with us right now.
We have a texter reminding us that the sandwich generation is extremely challenging, and that is the generation where you're taking care of your parents, but you also have kids. And so this person is saying multi-generational is very difficult. We have a grandma and an adult child living in our home. So, I understand that could be rough.
I hadn't thought about that, but actually 2 of our neighbors have their grandma,
parents?
Yeah, their parent living with them, which my parents passed away a couple years ago, but I wouldn't have minded that at all. I would have gladly taken my parents. My parents were too proud.
I think it can be challenging, right?
Yeah.
I think it can be challenging. My mother-in-law passed away in the spring, and she was trying to live at home as long as she could, and she lived back in Kansas, so it wasn't our family, but my sister-in-law was trying to take care of her, and her dementia got bad enough that it just became impossible. Right. So my parents are in the same situation that yours were, where they're just like, I don't want to live with any of my kids, but they're also in their mid-80s, and they do fall, and they do have some problems. In fact, I understand that EMS knows them on a first name basis because they're called to help my mom up when she fell in the shower. Like, they come so often. It's like, well, you might want to consider assisted living. And they're like, no, absolutely not.
I'd like to see a secret poll of my 3 kids. Hey, how would you feel if Dad moved back home? I don't know that I'd want to see those numbers. Well, today, you reminded me earlier, is World Kindness Day. Kindness Day. We want to hear from you. Tell us about some act of kindness you've seen or done in your life. Text us at 57500. Today is World Kindness Day. Tell us your act of kindness.
It's 11:29 at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small with our top stories this half hour. We're now 5 days past the average first day of snowfall in the valley, but experts say it is not the time to worry about our reservoirs yet. The first day of valley snow is usually November 8th, but KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says what we see in the valley now doesn't matter too much when it comes to filling our reservoirs.
If all of our mountains could get a deep snowpack this year, that would do wonders for the snowpack, the ski industry, and of course our drinking water next year.
Water for the reservoir comes from the mountain snowpack, and he says right now forecasts show it could be an above-average season. We're already looking like in a good place with all the rain from October. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, 1,000 Starbucks baristas at 65 coffee shops in 40 cities are on strike. Workers say Starbucks management are stonewalling baristas on their demands for better hours, better pay, and what the group calls hundreds of outstanding unfair labor practice charges for production purposes. You're just hearing that sound of workers striking in Philadelphia. Your money at this moment, bad day on Wall Street so far. The Dow's currently down 589 points. That's more than 1.2%. S&P 500 down 105 points. The NASDAQ down 561. That's more than 2.4%. Coming up, we have a storm arriving this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
At Bank of America, we're proud that more than 20,000 veterans and people with military backgrounds have joined our ranks since 2015. Now we're committed to adding 10,000 more over the next 5 years. By helping veterans achieve their career goals, we're moving from appreciation to action, and together, helping expand economic opportunity across America. Visit bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done, because soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist, and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
If you're headed northbound I-15 through Davis County, you will see some reduced speeds and a right lane blocked in Bountiful as you're approaching 5th South. It doesn't last long, but definitely slow through that stretch. And the final cleanup of a crash, this is in Utah County. It's on the off-ramp from southbound I-15 at University Parkway in Orem over to the left shoulder, again in the final cleanup stages. Celebrate the holidays with the Utah Symphony starting Thanksgiving weekend. Sing along to the Hallelujah Chorus. Hear the angelic voices of Celtic Woman and much more. Visit utahsymphony.org/holidays. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. Highs to remain in the upper 60s over the next few days, but on Sunday we will see a storm arrive and rain to continue to fall into next week, bringing temperatures down into the 50s. Right now it is 68 degrees, sunny skies in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, today is World Kindness Day, and we want to hear from you about an act of kindness you've seen or experienced recently. Text us to 57500, and I'm going to start the conversation because I experienced a very serious accident about 10 days ago. A week ago Sunday, I crashed on my mountain bike. A lot of people know about this. Broke my pelvis, broke a bone in my back, I just broke a lot of things.
And yet here you
and
are.
And yet here I am through no act of kindness of my own. But what happened was this, that got me thinking. We got home and I was a mess. I was really a mess. And my wife sent just a blip out to some of the neighbors, and we live in an elderly community. But that afternoon I had 3 walkers.
Wow.
3 walkers at my doorstep,
Wow.
a pair of crutches, a raised
awesome.
seat for the restroom, all kinds of things, and
Wow.
a shower, a seat. I mean, we just had all kinds of stuff. And then more and more people saying, well, what about this? Or what about that? You know, we've got this and that. I mean, the kindness, and not to mention, and even my friends here at KSL, my co-host included, we had treats, we had meals, we had things brought to us. I mean, talk about the kindness that people showed me personally. I can't express it enough that, you know, going through this trauma that was one of the worst experiences I've ever suffered. I'm still suffering. Just to see how people responded to it. And family just called me up and say, what can I do? We'll be at your house. We'll bring you dinner. I mean, it
makes a difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It made a huge difference. And it made me really appreciate what people can do and what people do. And it's, I don't know, it's been very touching for me.
I've written about World Kindness Day for several years. I did not do it this year, believe it or not, busy with other things. But Krispy Kreme as a company gives away, it's basically buy one, get one, right? So buy a dozen donuts, get a dozen donuts free. It's basically here's one for you and one to share. But last year, or a couple of years ago when I was writing about it, I asked online people's experiences for small kindnesses. And we had several things, like one of my friends said that when her dad died, her friend brought her ice cream. She dished up 2 bowls and we sat and talked about memories and feeling, which she said helped her, right? They just sat there and ate ice cream. I thought that was great.
Yeah, and another act of kindness that you seem to get a lot in situations like mine is just people who go, what can I do? I mean, and there's not much anyone can do necessarily, but people are saying, I even had a law firm send me a letter saying, we will take care of all your cases.
Oh.
Just tell us what cases you have, where you're going to go, and for the next couple of weeks, we've got it all covered. You don't need to do anything at all.
That is amazing.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, talk about an act of kindness, but
Yeah.
that's our community right now in Utah.
So one of the things that I think see going around, right, in the world where you can be anything, choose to be kind, right? Be kind. That was coined by somebody named Claire Pooley. She's the author of the Authenticity Project. And when I looked up that quote this morning, it said it was an anonymous source, but it's not actually. It's Claire Pooley. But there's also like One Kind Act a Day is actually an organization, and there are a number of Utah schools and Utah communities too. They're like, we're going to be on board with this One Kind Act a Day.
I think that was one of the mottos from being a scout, do a good turn daily.
Yeah, good
It
turn
was
daily.
The same idea. Yeah, we want to hear from you. Text us at 57500. Tell us about kindness, things that you've experienced recently. I mean, I've certainly had my share of things that I've been able to see.
This is a really nice one. This person says they volunteer at the Utah State Correctional Facility, and there's a class called Kindness Matters. Today, my husband and I were given kindness cards from an inmate thanking us for our service. It was so touching. That is, right? It can be just those little things of like, hey, I see you and thank you. And you know, I've done I've seen a couple of times where kids are in the store and they're throwing a tantrum or whatever, and I've read about people who will go by and say, "You're doing a good job, Mama." Right? Instead of being like judgmental or whatever, right? But just to say, look, I've been there with my kids trying to take kids to the grocery store. It was a nightmare sometimes, not all the time. But sometimes it was. And if somebody had said to me, you know what, you're doing okay, that would have been so great.
And you think of somebody who's in prison or jail right now,
Yeah.
they're about as down as they could be,
Yeah.
away from their family, away from their friends, away from the things that we all just take for granted. An act of kindness, somebody that's willing to come out there on their own, talk to them, teach them either religion classes or teach them reading classes, teach them
Right.
whatever, come out and just share some counseling or therapy or something like that. I mean, anytime I go to the jail, it's not necessarily an act of kindness because it's my job, but you can see volunteers out there and you can see in the lobby church leaders and people like that who are there just to go out there and share something with other inmates is really an act of kindness that could make a difference in a person's life.
There's let me just say this about a psychology professor, and he's a scholar with the Markula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University. He said that being nice is not the same as being kind. Being nice is about being polite, quote, civilized, demonstrating high levels of social skills. But being kind involves action and intentions beyond just politeness or niceness.
So,
we have a couple other texters.
Okay.
I left my scarf at my mom's house while visiting her across the country, and she mailed it to me with the next day post alongside a jury summons that arrived for her at her address. Thanks for that, Cam. Another person said they went to a restaurant to pick up a large takeout order. Their credit card machine was not working, and I did not have the cash to pay for it. Another customer paid cash for my order. He gave me his address, and I later dropped off the money to him. Super nice. I walked by a child and said under my breath, "Santa Claus is always watching, and you should see their faces," says Steve. So you can. There's lots of ways to be kind, and it doesn't have to be food.
Yeah, and I don't consider myself the kindest person in the world, but I cannot drive by a lemonade stand.
Right.
When I see the kids, I'm going to go stop. I'm going to overpay because it's not like you carry 50 cents in your pocket. You carry $5 bill.
Right,
for
exactly.
A glass of lemonade.
So
Sign me up,
and
kid.
the kids know that, right?
I
know that.
I know. We don't have
don't
change.
have change.
Sorry,
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So there's an account I follow on social media called Tiny Kindnesses, and there's just all kinds of small stories about people being kind. One of the ones that I see on right now says, "I was solo traveling in Venice, meaning Italy, around 2019. Wanted to grab some takeaway pasta to eat in my hotel room. While waiting, an older guy started to talk with me. He was a friend of the owner, and he said one of the things that stuck with this person. They said, I had all the time in the world to do what's good for me. I don't have to do everything at the same time as other people, right? Yeah. And that's always good advice. Feeling heard, right? Feeling seen and heard can be a kindness.
Another personal example, and then I'll quit talking about myself. My wife is celiac, so she can only eat certain kinds of bread. Actually, not hardly any bread. One of my neighbors baked me a loaf of sourdough bread, just because I can eat it.
Good
and
for
I'm like,
you.
And my wife is like, "You're so spoiled." And what an incredible act of kindness that was.
Yeah. So tiny kindnesses, according to my friend, they're not random acts of kindness, although that can be really fun too, to do random acts of kindness. They can be big to the person giving them, or they don't have to be big, but they're intentional, right? And it's whether like somebody stopped to help you when your car broke down, or your kids were in need. And I this is not a tiny act. Maybe we can continue the conversation when we come back after the break, but I can tell you about what happened the Christmas that my daughter died. We'll be right back.
The temperature sinks a little lower and the wind blows a little harder. Next thing you know, the winter cold is going to be seeping in through your old drafty windows. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products for custom-crafted, state-of-the-art windows that'll seal up your house and cut your heating bill. Get on their schedule before winter, and not only do you get factory direct pricing far below what the big-name companies charged, but Advanced will knock an extra $2,500 off your quote. They'll create beautiful double-pane windows with insulated frames, any style, any color, and the security features to keep your family safe. You'll get a lifetime warranty from a local company in business here for 39 years. Financing? 60 months, 0%. Or even buy now, pay later. So make the call. Seal up the house for winter with $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our Trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The YMCA of Northern Utah helps kids, families, and communities thrive. From after-school care and summer camps to wellness programs and mentorship, they create spaces where everyone can grow, connect, and reach their full potential. CEO Rich West joins us with more.
At the YMCA of Northern Utah, big change often begins with something small. It might be a shy preschooler's first time in the classroom or a child at camp discovering something new. We focus on providing programs that spark confidence, resilience, and belonging, all essential to healthy communities. And that's why we're here for families year-round with affordable, high-quality after-school, preschool, summer day camp, overnight camp, and youth skiing and snowboarding programs. The YMCA is for all, regardless of background. Through our Elevating Youth campaign, we're expanding and improving programs so every child has access to safe spaces, caring mentors, and opportunities to learn and grow. These experiences are made possible by community support. Your gift, no matter the size, helps fuel youth development through play, learning, and leadership. Donate today at ymcautah.org and help us build stronger kids and a stronger Utah.
The YMCA of Northern Utah continues to make a lasting impact by empowering families with resources and support that promote stability and belonging. Their work helps strengthen the fabric of Utah communities and inspires a spirit of connection statewide. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Once again, I'm caught off guard a little bit here because Kindness Day was something I hadn't been familiar with, but it's actually World Kindness Day.
That's right.
And it's been established since 1988. It's a big deal. I mean, I'm looking at some of these articles and some of these promos about it, but it's something that was established in 1988 as a part of the World Kindness Movement.
Yeah.
And it's something, November 13th every year is World Kindness Day.
That's right. That's right. And I was going to share with you a kindness that I had a daughter die right before Christmas. We buried her on December 17th, which is the day before my birthday, actually, 1 week and 1 day before Christmas. And I just didn't have it in me to be able to do Christmas that year. And I didn't have to ask anybody, just my friends, neighbors, people I didn't even know took care of everything. They brought gifts for the entire family. They brought us food that was, either already ready to eat or all I had to do was stick it in the oven. And it's been 20 years this year, actually, and I still remember that as just a huge kindness.
Oh, I can't even imagine. And what you were going through at the time, the kindness that must have been something else. We did have a couple of other texts before we move on.
We did. We had this texter says, I'm a college English instructor and I was up late grading essays last night. I had just finished grading a student's essay when I received an email from him. He said he had just noticed I was up late grading his paper and he wanted to tell me how much he appreciated it and appreciated the time that I put into their class. It just made me feel appreciated and I thought it was such a kind gesture. And then somebody responded to you and said, I loved that and that they have never driven by a lemonade stand without stopping. And it does cost. It costs you.
You know, I will say this also. Right after I got hurt, I got an email from someone who didn't know I was hurt, but who listens to this show. And he said, and he works for one of our congressional representatives. Greg, you don't know me, but my mom loves your show. We listen to it all. She tells me Skordas has done, he's been a prosecutor, he's been a defense attorney, he's run for office, and he's like, well, Mom, I've done the same things. But so I said, look, next time Mom's in town and when I'm walking, I want to take her to lunch with you.
Yeah, that's super great.
It was so kind, especially because I was so down at the time.
Oh yeah, that's great. And not even knowing, right, that you needed that little pick me up.
Right.
So there's another fun fact. This is Jimmy John's. So it's actually National Pickle Day also today. And so Jimmy John's is making it a big deal. Do you get it? Dill. Oh yes. Haha. They're giving pickle lovers a chance to win free pickles for an entire year. So Jimmy John's has like those giant pickles. So people can do that. Krispy Kreme has buy one get one free today for donuts, and it's I think it's buy a dozen get a dozen free. But yeah, there's so many ways to be kind. I think one of the things that I've seen people do that is just really fun for my kids, right, is small kindnesses for my kids. So whether that's, hey, it looks like you had a tough day. Can I take you to lunch, like you said? Or let's go to a movie. And those types of things, just reaching out sometimes. It's like, yeah, it was a bad day, but yeah, we can go laugh. That'd be fun.
Speaking of pickles, one of my neighbors gave me some socks a year or two ago that said, I'm kind of a big deal. And I wasn't sure whether that was a jab at me or whether that was a compliment, but I wear them proudly. I'm kind of a big deal.
That's funny. Okay, so I have to do the fun facts on this day. So on this day, November 13th, 1789, Benjamin Franklin wrote a comment that I think we still use all the time. Nothing is certain but death and taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep, yes.
The only thing certain in life, death and
realize who wrote
taxes.
that.
Yeah, Benjamin
The only
Franklin.
things that are certain are death and taxes. Yep.
So do you remember hearing about the Silent Sentinels? Do you remember hearing about them?
I do not.
They were female protesters. They wanted to get the attention of the president at the time. This would have been 1917-ish. And so they were told if they made any noise at all, they were going to be arrested for disturbing the peace. So they held silent protests outside of the White House. They still got arrested. So on this day in 1917, 30 of them.
That's not fair.
I know.
How do you arrest somebody for being silent?
For being silent
silently
because they were protesting. Because they were annoyed. The president didn't want women to have the right to vote at the time.
That was bad PR for the president at the time to take into custody people who are silently protesting
and women, and they were
right.
jailed, and it was not kind.
No,
it was
no,
not
no.
kind to them. So this one I thought was funny. So in 1953, well, first of all, what is Robin Hood known for? Like the character.
Yeah, robs from the rich and gives to the poor.
Right. So in 1953, an Indiana textbook commission member said that Robin Hood was a communist. We should not talk about Robin Hood because he was redistributing wealth.
Oh, Robin Hood is a socialist, yeah, because he's
communist.
Robs from the rich and gives to the poor.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. We talked yesterday, I think, about the Vietnam War Memorial for female veterans, but it was on this day in 1982 that the Vietnam Veterans Memorial opened in Washington, D.C. And have you been there? Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. Just
so
by
it
chance,
goes
because I happened to be
chronologically,
there. Right? Yeah.
Right. So from the beginning of the war, and then you see this. It's almost 58,000 U.S. soldiers who were killed or who are missing. And my dad, I think we mentioned this. My dad was drafted, and he ended up enlisting in the U.S. Air Force, and then he flew in Vietnam. He flew reconnaissance, and one of his good buddies. And I remember this man, actually. I was 4 years old when my dad was deployed, but he re-upped for a second tour, and he did not come home.
Yeah, you think of just in my own lifetime is a war that occurred during my lifetime. So I don't think of Vietnam vets as being particularly old, but now they are. They're getting up there. Those are people that are
in their 80s.
Right, in their 80s now, yes, that served in Vietnam or Korea.
Yeah. So that war memorial, I've been there with my dad, and just like as soon as we approached, we were both crying because he had friends who died there, and I have memories of being a little kid and this guy who gave me this giant teddy bear, and then he never came home.
Boy, and if you see people at that memorial, especially you see
they
people
just
who must have served, and they're looking at names and they're going through and they're putting their fingers on it and just getting to finding a name that they recognize and just watching how they react. It's heartbreaking.
On this day in 1985, and I had not remembered this story, but there was a volcano that erupted in Colombia. It caused a mudslide, and it killed about 23,000 residents of a city in Colombia. It just buried the entire city.
From
this
85?
In 85.
That was fairly recently.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, 40
How many
years
people?
ago. 23,000 people in a volcanic mudslide. And then on this day, this is the 10th anniversary, there was ISIL who attacked people in Paris. They ended up at a theater, and they killed 130 people there in the theater in Paris. So I don't know if you remember that story, but that's a decade now.
That was not an act of kindness.
That was not an act of kindness. They did not listen.
I don't remember that either. I mean, Mike, I have this memory. I've so focused on the practice of law for the last 40 years. I love being on the show with you because you hear about history and you hear about things and you go, I was alive at that time, but I don't remember that, and you need to appreciate those things.
You probably have memories of legal cases that I have
right,
no idea.
Right, yes.
No idea what
things,
you're talking
things
about.
You don't really need to know about.
Yeah, so it's again World Kindness Day, and it's
World Kindness Week.
It is World Kindness Week, and it's being kind is a deliberate behavior, right? And I just really like this idea that we can deliberately choose to be kind, right? Instead of lashing out, we can choose to be kind. There's lots of different organizations. You don't have to participate in an organization, though, to be kind.
And I'm looking at their byline here. It's a global observation that emphasizes the need to be kind to one another in order to thrive peacefully in a global community. I mean, World Kindness Day was initiated, like I said, in 1988 at Tokyo Conference, and it's big in America too. And I'm glad we were able to participate. I'm glad we were able to talk about World Kindness Day and Kindness Day in general. And a lot of our texters, people that jumped in and said, "Hey, I've seen acts of kindness. You and I have seen tremendous acts of kindness that you couldn't even write about."
Sometimes acts of kindness are just letting the person on the highway merge in front of you. It's okay. You can do that.
It's okay, right?
You can be kind that way.
Or letting somebody merge or letting somebody pull in or whatever. Yeah, acts of kindness. Well, that's it for Inside Sources today. Coming up next will be Maria Shilaos with Midday. We're learning more about an alleged swatting incident. We started the show talking about swatting incident. This occurred at the University of Utah last night. It saw a fleet of officers arrive at the school's Callart Village with guns drawn, all for a false alarm. We'll talk about that after the break. Stay with us on KSL News Radio with Midday with Maria Shilaos.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News.